Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drahjan, and welcome back to another character conversion for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, we're doing something a little bit different today. This is going to be something for our dungeon masters out there. That's right, I'm not going to forget about you, dear dungeon masters. In fact, I've been wanting to do this for a little while, or at least something similar to this. There is another RPG system out there. I'm sure all of you already know this. This is the rival RPG system to Dungeons & Dragons. It is known as Pathfinder. And I was jealous of the first edition books, because they have some elegant creature designs. And recently they came out with a new edition, Pathfinder 2nd edition. And I took a look at the new rulebook and the bestiary. Bestiary, it has an E there, no A, no beasts here, just a bestiary. Anyway, I took a look at these two books. Of course, I could only take a look at a PDF file, but I do plan on getting the hardcover books, because to me, I would rather have a book that I purchased myself than have some stupid PDF file. It just feels better. Anyway, my first thoughts were on these new editions. Interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not being biased because I am a Dungeons & Dragons fan. But these books were a little bit confusing with how some of the creatures were set up. For example, this here is Tree Raiser. I mean, look at his design. He looks magnificent. This is somebody you do not want to encounter. And according to the bestiary, he is a level 25 demon. Now, that's the thing. He's a level 25 demon. Now, by Dungeons & Dragons standards, a level 25 creature is a big deal. This is your boss monster. You definitely do not want to mess with this guy, and once you do beat him, there's, what, about 2,000 experience points given? But I want you to look at his stats in the bestiary. Do you see anything missing? Well, that's right. Experience points. It does not tell you anywhere in the bestiary how much experience your party will get for beating this creature, or other creatures for that matter. That is the only thing missing, is the experience points. I mean, the stat block is amazing looking. Just take a look at it for a second. Alright, now let's go ahead and get to explaining the experience point system in Pathfinder. Now, here is the table for the creature XP and the roll. Now, the creature level has to equal the party's level, either plus, equal to, or minus their level. So, take for example, Tree Raiser. He's level 25. So you have a party of 4 players. Each of them are at level 5. This makes them a party level of 20. Tree Raiser would be 5 levels higher. So, roughly we're looking at 200 experience points for each player. That's right. There is not a large pool of experience points that gets divided. Each player in your party will get an equal amount of experience points, even if one party member wasn't in the fight. The example they gave is that, say your rogue decided to do some sneaking around to try to collect some treasure. Even though he is not in the fight, after you beat Tree Raiser, the rogue will still get the 200 experience points as if he was battling Tree Raiser. Seems a little bit unfair, doesn't it? But another example they give is if he finds, say, a gem worth 50 experience points. Everybody in the party, including the rogue, gets the 50 experience points. It's not divided, it is an exact amount of 50. So 50 for the rogue, 50 for your fighter, 50 for your ranger. Each player gets 50 experience points. So that's kind of balanced, I guess. But this is just for a party of 4 level 5 adventurers. Now, say you have 5 level 5 players. That's a party level of 25. That is equal to Tree Raiser's level of 25. Now, the experience points have dropped significantly. You now only have 40 experience points for each individual player. That doesn't seem right to me. Oh no, don't worry. They have a solution for this. It's not going to take forever to level up like in Dungeons & Dragons. In fact, the player XP system works like this. Once a player reaches 1,000 experience points, that player gains 1 level and takes away 1,000 experience points. So even if you're at level 5 and gain another 1,000 experience points, you go up to 6th level and decrease by 1,000 experience points. That kind of works, except again, it's a little bit weird. Now, what if we... Now, this is the concept I came up with. What if I wanted to take a creature from Pathfinder and put it into Dungeons & Dragons? How would I calculate the stats and the experience points? Well, I think I came up with a good system. Let me explain with a comparison. We're going to take these 2 stat blocks for the same exact creature. The Young Red Dragon from Dungeons & Dragons and the Young Red Dragon from Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now, examining these 2 stat blocks, you can see that they have the exact same challenge rating of 10. So that makes our lives a little easier, I guess. So, what exactly changes? What changes do we make to make the Pathfinder dragon a Dungeons & Dragons dragon? Well, according to my examinations, we have the skills divided by 4, rounded down, of course. The AC is going to be divided by 2, also rounded down. Just so you know, everything's going to be rounded down once we divide it all. The attack and damage modifiers would also be divided by 2, as well as saving throws, or in some cases divided by 4, depending on how high the stats are. Because we don't want a too big stat. Now the damage dice, this is the important one. This will be a little bit confusing. For your attack damage, you will either lower the dice size or the number of dice in the damage. For example, if there are 2d6 damage, decrease it to only 1d6. Or if you have 2d12, just decrease it to a 2d10. Seems simple enough? You might be a little confused still. Not to worry. Let's go ahead and give an example. Oh, right. Don't forget to take out any unnecessary features, and the save DC is going to be divided by 2. So, let's go ahead and go with an example. This creature here is what we're going to be converting. Hideous, isn't it? It's like a Gruthlot, I believe. Now, I wanted to do this creature because it looks very similar to the Amoeboids. Amoeboids, that's it. The Amoeboids from the Ratchet and Clank series. I'm going to try out the eye icon. I'm going to try to put it above the picture of the Gruthlots. That eye icon is going to take you to the Ratchet and Clank character conversion that I did not too long ago. If I can't get the eye icon to work, I'll just put the link in the description. Alright, so the Grothlot. This is what I did for the Grothlot. Its hit points is going to be 50, so it's a medium creature, so it gets an D8, so 10d8 plus 5 will give it its 50 hit points. Its AC is 10. It has resistance to acid and psychic. It had immunities to these two, but I thought that was a little too harsh, so we just went with resistances. Saving throws got cut down to a +7 in Constitution, +2 to Wisdom. Because the saving throws are a little wonky in Pathfinder. We have the Death Burst ability, which was originally called Disgusting Demise. We also have Stench, was originally the Moan, Piteous Moan. And we also have 2 actions, the Claw Attack, and we have Spit Bile, which was originally Disgustive Spew. Now, thanks to all this conversion that we did, with a 1d8 plus 4 slashing damage on the Claw Attack, and 2d6 acid damage, we have a CR of 1/2, which leads to 100 experience points, which isn't too bad. Now let's try our luck with a bigger threat. This guy, it was a Shoggoth. This guy was pretty interesting, so I wanted to tackle him as well. Now, our friend the Shoggoth has 275 HP, which technically was a little less than that, but we had to make some adjustments. Its AC is 18. Immunities, it has blindness immunity, the charmed immunity, and deafened immunity, which is pretty normal for an aberration. It has resistance to acid, cold, and it said sonic in its original stat, but we went with thunder since that was pretty close. Saving throws, a +16 to the Constitution, +15 to Dexterity, and +15 to Wisdom. Kind of makes sense. It also has regeneration and magic resistance. Its maddening cacophony ability was interesting. Let's go ahead and zoom in real quick. There we go. Now, originally, it had the player affected by the cacophony be confused and treat all creatures as enemies. Now, this reminded me of a spell known as Enemies Abound. So, I just went with it has a similar effect to the Enemies Abound spell, which was decent. Now, as for the rest of the stats, we have the Pseudopod, the Constrict, and the Swallow ability. So this was basically a sort of slime of sorts with how it operated. With all of that, it became a CR15 creature, which isn't that bad of a stat change because its original challenge rating was 18, so it didn't drop by much. but we have a steady 13,000 experience points. Not too bad. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little conversion, my dear viewers. But I'm out of time. Dungeon Masters, I'll see you in another conversion. And Friday, for all of my other players. Viewers, Friday we're going to have another Dungeons & Dragons character conversion, and I do plan on creating a character in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition style. I just have to do a little bit of reading, and I will get to that video. For now, I hope you enjoyed. This has been Drahjan, and I am offline.